So here we have a calculator question, and it says each circle touches two other circles and two sides of the square. The region inside the square, that is outside of the circle, is shaded and has a total area of 40 centimeter squares. Work out the perimeter of the square. So first of all, I need to make an equation for the shaded area, because that shaded area comes out as 40. Now that shaded area would be the area of the square, with 4 circles cut out of it. Okay, so the shaded area is the area of the square minus the area of 4 of those circles. Now there are no figures on here, so I'm going to have to create some algebra, and the algebraic length I'm going to create is the radius of one of the circles, because that will be handy for finding the area of the circle. So straight away I now know the area of the circle. I know this part here. The area of the circle is pi r squared, and I've got 4 of those, so timesing that by 4, I have 4 pi r squared. So that's that bit here. So I'm going to be subtracting 4 pi r squared from something here, the area of the square. Now the area of the square will be its length times by its width, which is a square, so it'll be the same. Now if I continued because it's touching, if I continued the radius, I can see that the length of the square is actually made up of 4 of the radiuses, or radii. So actually the length of the square is 4r, r plus r plus r plus r, by 4r. So here I have the area of the rectangle is 4r times 4r, which is 16r squared. So 16r squared, which is the area of the square, take away 4 pi r squared, which is the area of the 4 circles, is equal to 40. Now if I can solve this equation to find the value of r, I should be able to then work out the perimeter of the square. So to solve this equation, I'm going to have to collect like terms, and this is what makes this one a tricky question, because I can't collect, or we have a calculator, but it's very tricky to add that together. But what we have learned in maths is how to factorize. So I'm actually going to factorize this. I'm going to pull out the r square and realize that you are 16 take away 4 pi of the same thing. And this is a calculator paper, so I can actually just type that on my calculator, 16 take away 4 pi. But I'm not going to do it yet because it's going to give me a really long decimal. What I'm going to do first is I'm going to divide that over to the other side, because now I have r squared times by this. So r squared on its own is 40 divided by 16 minus 4 pi. So I'm going to get that out on my calculator. So bear in mind, I could have done it at different points. I could have even done it at this point. I could have found what 4 pi is and done 16 take away that decimal. I didn't have to do it this way round. Let's have a go at that. So I'm pressing 40, I'll do it as a fraction there, 40 over 16 minus 4, I'll use the pi button, pi. Okay, and that gives me a decimal there of 11.64, and it goes on, but I'm going to leave it in my calculator. So we've got r squared equals 11 point, and it's a long decimal there, but because I'm going to use the answer button to get the radius, which will be the square root of that. So I'm just pressing square root of answer, and that is 3.413. It goes on. It says do it to 3 significant figures, but this isn't my final answer yet, so I'm going to keep 4 significant figures because I'm not there yet. So I've got the radius is 3.413. That's the radius. So the length of my square would be 4 of those, so I'm going to quickly press times by 4. So the length of the square is 13.65. That's one length, and now I'm going to times that by 4 to get all the way around and get that perimeter. So I'm timesing by 4 even again to get all the way around. So my perimeter is 54.6. It was a long decimal, but it said to 3 significant figures, so I'm going 1, 2, 3, 54.6. I'm just going to show you what to do if you didn't spot that factorisation. If you didn't spot the factorisation, you would have done this. So you would have 16r squared, take away 4 pi r squared equals 40, and you can just press 4 times by pi on your calculator, which is 12.56. You would have got 16r squared minus 12.566 r squared equals 40. And then collecting like terms, you could just press 16 take away 12.566, and you would have got 3.434 r squared equals 40, and then you would have had to have done your division at this point and square rooted and got the same thing. And that's the answer.